Niño, as you know, we are in the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season. And at the top of this hour, we had an update to the forecast from Colorado State University. That June update indicated there, those yellow numbers, named storms going down from the April forecast, the first forecast CSU provided. That is a below average forecast. But what do all these numbers mean?
Yeah, well, we heard from Phil Klotzbach at the top of the hour. He is the lead researcher of the Colorado State University. Now we get our hurricane specialist, Bryan Norcross, to join in on the conversation. Bryan, we're looking at the numbers and we see there we are, well, wondering, El Niño. It looks like it's going to have a really big influence on this season's.
Yeah, that's the prediction, and all indications are that the strong El Niño is going to form. It could be a very strong El Niño. Remember, there have been hurricane seasons in the past, not that terribly long ago, that we only had, well, the record is 4 in modern time. That was 1983, but 7 in 1992, and 1 was Hurricane Andrew, and other slow seasons. That was in the period before 95, though, when things really ramped up. Now, with the new CSU numbers, look how they jibe with the NOAA numbers that came out last month. You know, it's right in the middle of the NOAA range. So the, the forecast agencies pretty much agree El Niño is coming on that will limit the activity. Average 14, it says here, but that's the average from 1991 to 2020. And in the 90s, we just had fewer storms and less technology. So that number really should be more like 15 or 16 for a modern average. So this would be significantly below normal if we end up with something like 11 total named storms. And it's all about 2 areas and the water temperatures. That's what all this is really based on. Let's talk about the Atlantic first. And so this whole thing is typically called the main development region these days. I always thought of just this part being that, but these days generally in papers and so forth, you see the whole thing, including the Caribbean, called the main development region. And what's going on right now? Well, look out here in the eastern part of that. Well, it's quite cool. In fact, it's so cool that it's below the 80-degree Fahrenheit threshold, which would even allow something to begin to develop. And this part in here is actually cooling from what it has been. And then over here around the Gulf and the Western Caribbean, it's still plenty warm, including there in the Bay of Campeche. And we're going to talk more about that here in just a second. But this whole area out here is becoming more hostile for any kind of tropical development. Why is that? Well, high pressure to the north is quite strong. It's blowing air quite strong. The trade winds are strong here. And that does 2 things. One is it stirs up the water, so it brings cooler water from below up to the surface. The other thing it does, it's like having a fan blow over you when you're sweating. The evaporation cools the water. So both those factors make cooler water, and that's what's happening right now. The winds are less strong when you get over here into the western part of the Caribbean. All right, now let's talk about the Pacific. Of course, this is the box where we measure the water temperature to determine if an El Niño is in effect. It goes into effect when the water is very warm, extra warm for 3 months. So just because the water gets warm doesn't mean they go ahead and designate the El Niño. We'll see the analysis from NOAA here coming up here at the end of the week, but it is warming pretty quickly. You can clearly see it. It's above normal now, and it's getting warmer really at a pretty rapid rate. So here's where we were back in March, you see over here, and we've warmed now, and here's the forecast. And the key thing to look at in this forecast is the core of hurricane season here, which is this August to October period. Notice the first part of that, it'll be warm, so El Niño in effect, but getting warmer. So in these kinds of years where you have the El Niño building through the hurricane season, where if you're going to have a strong one, that's what happens because it peaks late in the year, right around Christmas time. This is the part that would have the bigger effect, would be late September and October. And actually quite often, if you had to make a prediction right now, you'd say, well, there's a fair chance that hurricane season will end early because the El Niño will be getting stronger. And we're going going to focus more on the early part of the season where you'll have somewhat less effect. That's not 100%. That's just an odds kind of thing. And that's another reason why these numbers are lower, because they're thinking that the season will be shorter because the overall atmospheric conditions will deteriorate from the tropical systems perspective as we go on through the season. So right now we have Tropical Storm Christina out here. But the other thing I want you to notice on this wider view is look at the way the winds are flowing in here. You see them coming around like this, kind of blowing over Christina. And this hostile upper level wind environment has been there all along, and that's why Boris, if you were around earlier this week, this is what's left of Boris up in here. It got kind of ripped apart, and Christina is not being allowed to intensify because the upper level winds are just too hostile. Now, exactly where the center is in this kind of broad, messy thing is an open question. Hurricane Center analyzes it, notice, moving to the west at about 3 miles an hour. So somewhere in here, kind of drifting this way, but the forecast is for it to turn on up to the north and head toward Guatemala, only a 40-mile-an-hour storm somewhere in there. The threat here is not the wind. The threat is all this moisture and the mountainous terrain there in Central America. So this is the forecast from the Hurricane Center. Takes it up over El Salvador or into Guatemala tomorrow. So there you see they're estimating a 40-mile-an-hour storm. But it really depends on when it gets to the coast. Right now, with it drifting a little bit this way, and then where does it go? Does it go quickly toward El Salvador? Does it take longer over the warm water? The conditions out there are not especially hostile, but it's been so kind of messed up that it's not going to have really much to work with. So what's going to happen as we go forward in time here? The moisture from Christina and also this mid-level disturbance are going to come together with the broad upper low, and we end up with a broad kind of moisture surge moving north. Hurricane Center saying when it's in the Bay of Campeche, which because of the curved coastline is just generally a little extra conducive for development, they're going to put a 10% on it. But the upper level winds are going to be hostile. So that's why 10%, and 10% might be generous. I would say a 5 to 10% chance of anything developing there, guys. And this coastline in here, if anything just starts to develop, the curved coastline just tends to kind of spin it up and things kind of overproduce in the Bay of Campeche. But it would go into Mexico, and the threat here really is from significant rainfall. It's going to affect a large part of the southeast and even the deep south moving forward into next week. All that moisture coming together.
And not too far away, World Cup play is going to happen in Monterrey. That's one of the stadiums that I think a little closer to the Gulf of Mexico that we have that tropical moisture surge to watch.
Yep.
So so we'll be watching it. Brian, I love the words. A shorter hurricane season. I know we won't take it as scripture, but when we look at outlooks, it's a promising trend. We'll see how it ultimately plays out.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, Bryan Norcross, appreciate it.